Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Adam Carswell, and today I am joined by my colleague Joe Jones. Joe is a financial advisor with AXA, and he is an incredible individual. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't want to have him on here. I think the information that he's going to share with you today is definitely worthy of changing your life, and that's what we want to inspire everyone who's watching this to do, is to just think big, dream big, think outside the box. By the way, this is Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. And Joe, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Joe, I mentioned you're a financial advisor. Can you tell us a little bit about your history there and how long you've been in the industry?
Yeah, so I started my wealth management practice 5 years ago, or a little shy of 5 years ago, fresh out of college. I really started very niche in the business, focusing on retirement benefits and really just a few products. Through that, naturally my business evolved as my client needs kind of evolved. Took on learning life insurance, took on tackling other markets, nonprofits, small businesses, and now it's to that next step where it's more about complex estate planning issues. So through that process, I mean, starting in the business at 22, looking like I was 16, knowing 3 products, now I've really expanded to, I'm a regional vice president now. I have 10 business partners with me, and it's really just taking it to that next level so we can have that bigger impact on our community and just take our business to the next level.
I gotta ask, does the beard help?
I think so. I originally grew it to look a little bit older, and I got some comments that it looked all right, so I've kept it ever since.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is the first beard of my life, and I've gotten good comments. So
Yeah.
it's the beard crew right here.
There we go.
So Joe, when did you realize that this career was something that you wanted to take to the next level?
Yeah, I think, hopping into an entrepreneurial style career is something that takes a lot of forethought, takes a lot of support, takes a lot of educating yourself on what the opportunity is and how to build it out. So really my level of commitment was before I started this. I came in and I kind of burned all the boats and I was fully committed. But you always have sometimes those doubts, and you're not 100% sold until you see it in action. And I want to say it was roughly around the year mark where I realized this is something I love doing and I'm great at it and I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. And so, it's a really great feeling when you hit that mark, because then you're looking long term. You have that tunnel vision on, you don't have to fight for today's dollars or today's win. It's what's going to mean that I'm successful 40 years down the line. What's going to make sure that my clients are still with me 40 years down the line. So it's a unique position to get to, and it's definitely a pivotal moment. I wish I could pinpoint the exact date, but it is very clear in my mind when that happened.
Right, so about a year into this career is when you were like, wow, I love this, and it's not worth considering going back to anything that you were doing prior.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm passionate about. It drives my economic engine. I mean, I'm making good money doing it, and I'm helping out a lot of people. And I think those are 3 things that have to be part of that criteria. Do I see myself doing this every single day for the rest of my life? 100%. Can it be something that I get better and better at and can live comfortably on? 100%. And can I have an impact on my local community, whether that's families or businesses or whatnot? Yeah, and that's something that's important to me, especially because I'm not just providing a product or a service that I don't fully believe in or that I'm not fully sold on is necessary. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, at the end of my career, I know I can sleep well.
Right. And so we might touch on this later in the interview, but I do want to just snowball off of that. What advice would you have to someone who was in your shoes originally that's like, wow, financial planning, this is a job where I might not have that much support getting started besides myself. What advice do you have to Joe
at 22?
Joe at 22 with a clean shaven face?
Right. I think really just relying on your support network for basically being a sounding board, right? So running through the opportunity back to front on how the platform works, how the culture works, what are going to be what are some of the difficulties and what are some of the successes that you will hit. Picking the brains of successful business owners or people that have had to do something similar in a similar field or maybe the same exact field. And just being overly prepared, I think, is the only thing that made me comfortable to step into this. I did so much research. I did so many interviews. And once on paper it made sense, it was really just making sure that in my heart it also made sense. So that's something we talk to people, even if they come in and interview with me and they're fully sold that they want to be an advisor. Well, that's great. Have a talk with your support network, whether that's your parents, your loved ones, your friends, whoever that is. Maybe they have questions that you forgot to ask. Maybe they have concerns that we haven't addressed and we need to hit on those things. And it's especially difficult when you're an entrepreneur and you're hitting those difficulties and those challenges and you don't have people to rally behind you. And I think even more so when you're hitting those successes and you're kind of getting your head in the clouds, they help levelize you also and say, it's great that you hit this level of success, but there's a lot more that we need to accomplish. So it's keeping you on that even keel to where the lows aren't too low and the highs aren't too high, and you're always constantly striving for that vision.
And so you've touched on this a little bit already, but what would you say is your big why? You know, why is it that you have chosen this? What's the underlying passion behind you and your financial planning career?
Yeah, so I think for me and for a lot of people that enter into financial services industry, it really stems down to what we call the 3 I's. Number 1 is impact, and it has to be the number 1 thing. It's the fact that I come to work every single day and I know that I can send some kids to college, allow a couple to retire comfortably the way that they deserve, you know, help a business continue on from generation to generation, you know, protect a family in case they get hurt or somebody passes away. Those are impactful things. And I think if I was here solely for selfish reasons, I definitely still wouldn't be doing it. And you wouldn't put up with some of the difficulties and challenges that come along with that. Independence is huge for me, and that's the reason why I work at a firm that is so entrepreneurial in nature. So you know, essentially I work for a firm, AXA Advisors, and I get to leverage the tools, resources, support, infrastructure, and whatnot that they have, but do it in my own way. So I get to choose who I work with, when I work, and where I work. And for me, that's important because I have full ownership of my successes and my failures, and I own that fully. And beyond that, you know, the level of income that you can attain too in this industry is great. You know, for me, it's not necessarily about making a quick buck or becoming rich necessarily, but for me, that independence, again, is huge, and that financial stability and income is really what drives my personal independence. So I think overall of my decision to step into the industry, it really, you know, goes hand in hand with that. For the reason why I'm at AXA is what we call the 3 M's, so it kind of goes hand in hand with that as well. A lot of that is the mentorship model that we use, the markets that we utilize rather than trying to be a known commodity everywhere, really picking niches and targets that we can actually work a little bit deeper within those relationships. And then the models, right? We've been operating for 150 plus years. As somebody fresh out of college, who's to know that I know how to be a good business owner or not? But if I can come in and I can replicate some of those models, maybe just steal one entirely or make my own hybrid model, there's a lot higher probability of me succeeding in that. And so that's why I felt comfortable working with AXA, especially coming fresh out of college, 0 usable work experience with a psychology degree. And what was gonna say that I could be successful or not? And it was really, AXA was the missing piece for that.
Great. And also at the end of the interview, or if you just look below, we will provide Joe's email address for anyone who does have questions. Just want to throw this in here right now because he's talking about getting started with AXA. If you are an individual who's in college, just finished, or however old you are and you have an interest in becoming a financial advisor, clearly Joe is the one to get you plugged in and started with the right information. So definitely want to touch on that. Also, Joe, in this business, what would you say are the positives and the negatives to your daily flow?
Yeah, overall the major positive is the opportunity to work with people. The fact that I get to and I'm expected to talk with people all day, every single day is really what gets me excited. That's what raises my energy levels. That's what I'm here for, is to have that individual contact and impact. You know, sometimes that's what some people see as a negative, you know, day by day. Sometimes people are in bad moods. Sometimes people will flake on you, but as long as you're reminding yourself of the overall positives of why you're in the business and why you're in this business model, it outweighs it, definitely. Sometimes there's negatives on when you really, really want to do everything you can to help somebody, but they're just not in a position to help themselves, at least not currently. So sometimes you're working for free. Sometimes you're beating your head against a wall, for lack of a better term. But again, it's really reminding yourself that even when you can't bring somebody from this level of financial planning to the next, at least you're pointing them in the right direction. At least you're providing some level of service with education and support. And a lot of times advisors and professionals in general aren't really willing to work on that free educational level. And for me, again, looking long term, it's definitely important to build up that goodwill because I know it's going to come back to me.
Absolutely. It all comes back. You give and you get.
Yeah.
But your mindset can't be, I'm just going to give all this so I can get all this. It's just give. It comes full circle. You learn that a lot, I think, in entrepreneurial lifestyle as well. I can attest to that.
I think so, definitely. I mean, I doubt you got to where you've gotten without any help whatsoever. And I know a lot of it is mentors, a lot of it is support network, a lot of it is your team that rallies around you. And I love that aspect because I feel like my successes are our successes, and it feels better because of that.
Absolutely. Joe, what industry leaders would you say and role models that are in your life have really inspired you and helped you to grow to where you're at right now?
Yeah, I love that question because for me, it's no glamorous or well-known name. It's my peers that I've worked with. My mentors are all on a local level that have done exactly what I've done, and they've hit their levels of success in whatever aspect of their business or their life. And it's really just picking their brain. And the reason why I am drawn to that more so is because I feel like it's easier to gain value out of that relationship. They're more attainable in reaching out to them, and it's just more relatable on that level. So people like my executive vice president Nathan, who I've worked with for 4 years now. He started off the same exact way, same age, same marketplace, same product mix, and so that story really spoke to me. And it wasn't just talking to somebody who's made it, and it wasn't talking to somebody who had no connection with me whatsoever. I know he's been there, and it was only 5 or 10 years in the past. So it made it that much stronger when we're having the conversations. And actually just got an interview with one of our top advisors earlier today, and it's really centering around the same thing. Let me learn from you as much as I can, because you've been doing this to such a high level and an amazing level for so long. Why would I not want to sit down with you? And I think that's the best part of working in such a collaborative atmosphere. Is it's not having to reinvent the wheel. It's not having to go at it alone with my goals or with my drive. It's let me get other people excited and rallied around me, even if they already are. Let me get them reinvigorated with the new ideas that I have for, say, 2018. How to re-engage with my clients, how to keep growing my business, and then how can we build those leverage points that we're both excited about, that we're both gonna really keep driving success on.
Is Nathan your colleague that has strong ties to Ohio?
He is, yeah.
He is? Okay, yeah. Ohio's a great state. It's a good state to be from, I can say that.
Yeah.
Joe, how do you want your brand, your Joseph Jones brand as an entrepreneur and in this business, how do you want it to be perceived by the public?
Yeah, the way that I normally describe what it is that I do is I run a wealth management and consulting firm that's centered around financial wellness and education. And for me, that's such a big piece of the conversation, because it's not just about signing somebody up and rolling their dollars over for me to manage. It's not just about them necessarily becoming clients, because again, at the end of the day, if I can help educate somebody and they can take that and implement that into their lives, I feel like that's important to me. I feel like I'm bettering them, I'm bettering the community. So the educational component is huge for me. And that's a lot of how we work with organizations. We partner with them in order to fill in those gaps that a lot of times their employees are just not getting those levels of resources. So maybe they have their employee benefits, maybe they have their savings plans, but they just don't have the education on how it works. And a lot of times that's where we'll come in and add in that extra value. So for me, it's a lot about the individual impact. I love doing what I do because of the individual impact, and it's for the people, right? If I can help out a business or an organization, that's great. But more so what gets me excited about it is helping out the individuals on a specific level, every time we do a consultation.
That's great. I think that having a brand with that kind of vision is going to continue to carry you to those future goals that you have for yourself. With that being said, those future goals, where do you see yourself in the next 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years from now, I want to be taking Nathan's job and running our entire region.
See, you heard it here first, Nathan. Or maybe not first.
Not first. No, I've been telling him that for the 4 years now. But yeah, it's really growing the brand and growing that impact locally. We have 90 advisors locally. I'm looking to double that. I mean, this is a Washington DC metro area, 7 million people in this area. Having 90 advisors is amazing, but we have a lot of room for growth and a lot of opportunity within that as well. So really expanding locally, but also expanding our brand globally and throughout the nation as well. So I have a pretty big footprint in the North Florida, South Georgia market, growing that through my business partnerships as well, while growing the DC marketplace is definitely key for me. So currently I have 1,000 clients, looking to grow to the 2,000 level. I have 10 business partners that I pair up with currently, looking to grow that to the 30 level. And that's definitely the 3-year goal on both fronts.
I heard you say globally. So does that include potential international clients?
Yeah, so AXA overall has a massive global footprint. We are in 60 different countries, I believe is the statistic. So we're all over, and we cover a lot of different services and products out there. So from our end, I think if we keep it too locally focused, if we keep it too homegrown, if you will, then we're not really playing to our strengths, or at least not organizationally what our strengths are, and that's definitely our global impact that we can have.
Well, you might have potential international clients right here in our audience today.
Okay.
So, our audience online and actually our live audience, we do have a live audience today. I want to say very proud of that. Thank you guys for joining us. Could you give us a round of applause real quick for just being here? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we spoke about this earlier in the interview, but again, I want to reiterate it, especially for those who are watching and are legitimately interested in an entrepreneurial career focus in financial planning. I think right here having this connection with Joe is a huge head start to anyone who's watching. For those who are interested now, what is your advice, Joe, to someone who is just getting started in the same shoes that you were once in?
Yeah, I think the way that you asked me a question earlier is perfect. It's figure out your why. So, starting a business endeavor, starting an entrepreneurial path, it's really difficult if you are not passionate about something. If you don't have something that's always going to center your focus, center your vision, and rally other people around it. So figuring out what your why is, I think, has to be key. Going with that, the preparation and not being afraid of asking the questions, the tough questions on not just what are some of the benefits of going down this path, but what are some of the challenges? What are some of the difficulties that I'm probably going to hit? And how do I prepare myself for that mentally, financially, in all different types of scenarios? And then really just making sure that that vision is cast to your entire support network. Making sure that they're 100% on board. Because when they are 100% on board, it's extremely powerful. When you have kinks in that armor, it's difficult. It makes the challenges that much more challenging. So it's really knowing your message so strong that you can explain it in depth to your support network, to where you already have advocates for your business. You already have people that are sold, and that can really just expand from there.
Great. So yeah, really focusing on building that inner network. I know for me, and maybe you can relate, a lot of the business that I've done from a real estate perspective, 90% of it has thankfully been through just people that I know.
Right.
And once you can establish a network like that and really just get your brand out there, is I think what it comes down to, then business will just start to come your way. And with 1,000 clients on his way to 2,000, that's a prime example of growing your inner network and letting it do the work for you.
Right.
All right, so I got 3 fun questions for you now to kind of sign things off here. Joe, what is your favorite cartoon?
Okay. My favorite cartoon growing up was Thundercats. I'm not even sure if it came out before I was a kid or and there
it may have. I don't know.
I think so,
I'm
but
curious, yeah.
I don't know why I just love that cartoon.
Who are some of the characters of Thundercats?
I know Panthro and Lion-O, Chitara. I actually have a cat. His name is Panthro.
Okay.
It comes from that. So I don't know. I just always loved it. That and He-Man, and I know He-Man was definitely older.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What is your what's your favorite vehicle?
My favorite vehicle is pretty much any truck, to be perfectly honest. Trying to get back into a truck, it's a little bit difficult, the fact that I drive around all the time for client meetings and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, I'm just looking to get a really just massive truck.
And I think I might know the answer to this last question, but I still want to hear you say it. What's your favorite city?
Currently, my favorite city is Washington, D.C.
Well, that's like a sales pitch, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love D.C. I've moved 13 times in my life.
It is nice.
I'm not looking to move anymore. The 2 that always come to the top of my list are Nashville and Austin. Austin, Texas, if you haven't been, amazing food, amazing culture, very young vibe. It's just fun. The live music is insane. The art is amazing as well. And Nashville has a lot of those elements that really draw me to it. The music scene, the history that's there, the natural beauty of the surroundings. You really can't beat it. So Nashville and Austin, I don't know which one's my favorite. I guess it depends on my mood or the week or the day maybe that you're asking me, but both are amazing cities if you haven't been.
That's great. That's great. Well, Joe, thank you for joining us today here at Dream Chasers, Interviews with the Future. everyone watching, again, the information to contact Joe is going to be below. Any final comments? All right. And all you think, say, and do, remember, take it to the next level. Thank you, audience.